Some memoirs seek to cover an entire lifetime. Others take small segments and focus in with more detail. Peggy Winkler is writing about a third of her life, and she has just, in the last few days, signed a contract with a publisher, and it won't be long before we'll be gathering here again in this room for a book signing. Peggy, that's it.
Thank you. This story is called A Third of a Life. The first third was largely happy and productive, but not at all remarkable. This last third, the present, is a little sad, a coda, a winding down, I suppose inevitable. But the middle third is replete with one story after another, stories I would like to hand to my children and friends to remember the funny, exciting, unusual, sometimes scary, totally memorable bits, in case they're curious. I'm writing this in the middle of my 9th decade, with enough perspective to reflect on these times, these attitudes, grateful to have lived them and to be able to remember them. These stories have been leaking out of my head for 50 years, with people saying you've got to write a book. All right, now I've finally gotten the kick in the pants to get going, thanks to Marjorie Hart, Don McAvoy, and Connie Burnside. These stories tell of my family's adventures in 3 foreign countries, Ethiopia, Ghana, and Iran. I end in New Mexico, enchanted land of our retirement. When John F. Kennedy made his Ask Not speech, Gordon and I were galvanized to try and comply. My husband left his public relations business, partly dedicated to raising the per capita consumption of pickles, candy, and ice cream, to apply to and join a government agency whose mission was to tell America's story abroad. We picked up 3 little boys from their suburban existence to drop them into a new life. Friends, of course, thought we were crazy. Maybe so. When Gordon was appointed to a position in the United States Information Agency, he went to Washington for several months of training. We had no idea where we would be going. Worldwide available was the rule. One evening he phoned to ask me what I thought of Ethiopia. My answer, tell me where it is and I'll think about it. We were shortly devastated by the assassination of the president. The resolve to make this effort work became even stronger. We felt it a responsibility. By coincidence, Gordon physically resembled Kennedy in many people's eyes. This seemed to give us a connection to people abroad in a way. It wasn't until later that I learned that Haile Selassie, attending JFK's funeral, was asked if he wanted help in erecting a memorial to the slain president. He responded, "We need no memorial beyond the 342 of Kennedy's children who are serving in our country." This conversation took place sometime in September of 1963 outside of Chicago. The participants are he, Gordon, Daddy. Me, clearly myself. Dickie, oldest son, age 11. Andy, age 9. Billy, age 6. Me, how are we going to tell the kids? He, let's tell them what's going to happen. Why? When? Straight up. Editor's note, you can tell he's a newspaper reporter. Me, you guys come up here on the king-size bed. Daddy and I had something very important to tell you. Billy, let me get my blanket. He, Mom and I have made a very big decision to move away, a long way, to a country called Ethiopia in Africa. Not forever, but for a long time, because we think it will be good for all of us to meet different people. It could be hard for you to leave school, your friends, but you'll have new ones. Maybe we'll get some pets like monkeys and dogs and horses. Me, the couple of times when Dad and I have gone to different countries in Europe and to Mexico, we really liked finding out how other people lived and talked and ate and dressed. He, there could be some tough times when you're unhappy. We'll know and we'll talk about it. But we think you will like the whole business as it goes along. Dickie, Daddy, are you going to have a job? He, I'm going to work for Uncle Sam instead of the Candy and Pickle Council. Andy, can we take the Gilos? They were friends across the street. Me, no, sweetheart, this is just for our family. Just you guys and Daddy and me. We're going at the end of the year at Christmas time. We'll go from here to New York, then to Paris, France for a few days, then to Rome, Italy. After a couple of days there, we'll fly to Athens, Greece. Some days later, we will fly through Cairo, Egypt, and Khartoum in the Sudan to get to Addis Ababa, where we will be living. Dickie, do I have to take my cello? Andy, are we going to live in a house? Dickie, no, we'll live in a tent, dummy. He, as soon as we get to Addis, we'll take you to the American school, which won't feel very different except for different kids. Billy, what's Africa? Me, Africa is a continent, just like America is. Ethiopia is a country on the east edge of Africa, just north of Kenya. Dickie, go get your globe and show Billy where we're going. You can tell your friends at school anytime you want. Maybe they'll think this sounds really scary, but I think they'll be a little bit jealous. So be brave, you guys, and get ready for our new adventure. Only one thing more. I want to introduce my son Richard, who is the Dickie in the story.